What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a special Team Up North edition for this week of the Coach and the Couch Potato. Brought to you this time by our friends at Dostal and Kirk Insurance and Financial Services. Shout out to those guys. I am absolutely blessed to have a special guest with us tonight, a dude I have known for a very long time and blessed to consider a friend, former Buckeye class of 07, high school graduating class. Number 5 player in the state that year from Lakewood St. Ed's, Nate Oliver. How are you, sir?
Man, all is well. You said 2007. Man, I had to think back. That was forever ago, it seems like.
For sure. Yeah, so you got to be part of the rivalry for 5 years because you took a redshirt year, right?
Yep, that's correct. That is correct. So,
yeah, and, coming from Lakewood St. Ed's, you're in a powerhouse. Cleveland gets looked at from the Team Up North a lot. I'm sure that those guys had contacted you when you were in high school. Being an Ohio guy, let's just get right to it. What does this week mean to an Ohio guy wearing scarlet and gray?
It means everything. If you play football in the state of Ohio, this game is definitely circled. We do not like those guys up north at all. Coach Tressel, when we were there at Ohio State, we got there. We had maize and blue periods during summer camp. When we're doing tour days, we had a maize and blue period. We knew exactly what was going on. During spring ball, we had film session where we would go and watch a Michigan game from 2000, 2001, whatever year, and we would go over who won the rushing battle, who won the turnover battle, and what the outcome of the game was based off of those things. So, he ingrained in us super early that it was very, very important game, not only for us as an organization at the Ohio State University, but for the entire state of Ohio. So, yeah, it meant everything being a Cleveland kid, Northeast Ohio, watching, the early years in the 90s, those guys winning and then seeing Coach Tress come in and really take over, and then seeing guys from Northeast Ohio really play a huge part in that game. It was definitely something that we had circled and something that I really enjoyed being a part of.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And you hit on something that I was going to dive into. Playing for Coach Tressel, Jared, Coach Slater, that I do this with, he's unable to be with us tonight, but he is a massive, Tressel disciple. You never lost to these guys. 5 pairs of gold pants. How does that feel?
Well, listen, man. I wish I had the 5, bro. Listen, 2011, we tried to get rid of it because that was the year that wasn't too good. And that's when they beat us, unfortunately. But Braxton, those guys came back and they took care of it in 2012. But, having those 4 pairs of gold pants, beating those guys was huge. This past weekend, even watching the game, I always say it, but I say punt is the most important play in all of football. And as we saw from the black punt to the punt return, huge momentum pieces. And that was because of Coach Tressel. Those little things that he instilled in us, like punt being super important. This game versus Michigan, 1 yard equal 2 yards, 5 yards is 10 yards. Everything is just magnified in this game. So, man, playing under somebody that was so cerebral, like Coach Tress, it was amazing. Great mentor, great coach, great father figure.
Yeah, and I wrote that down wrong. I forgot about 2011. 2011, I still have PTSD because of the pass to DeVere.
Oh my goodness.
And Braxton, that's the other thing. Real quick, we'll digress for a minute. You got to play with some absolute dogs of quarterbacks.
Animals.
We've seen a big difference this year in the mindset of Will Howard versus Kyle McCord, who's doing great at Syracuse. But Kyle McCord referred to this as just another game. If TP or Braxton would have referred to this as just another game, what would Tress have done?
Listen, I don't even think they would have referred to it as just another game, just because we talked about it all the time. Between Todd Beckman, who was an animal in his own right, and TP and Braxton, we understood the importance of this game. Everyone in that building knew the importance of this game, and I think, unfortunately, after these 3 back-to-back losses that we've had
Yep.
against those guys. There's some feelings in that building that it's time for us to go ahead and reverse it. We need to go ahead and go ahead and get our win back. That's number one. But number two, I think with everyone on that staff, they've been super focused on making sure that they're doing the things that are correct and looking at this as not just another game, but being a crucial part of the season. Not only because it is Ohio State, Michigan, but typically the winner of this game is going to go to the Big Ten championship and possibly go play for that national championship. So, you know,
Yeah.
there's definitely you see it in the building, you see the sense of urgency within the players and the coaching staff. So, I'm super excited for them.
Heck yeah. One thing I know kind of holds true to your heart that there were some rumors that they quit playing It's Time for War. I mean, that's a big part of the week inside that building.
It is. I can't speak to it if I'm being. I don't know. They may have, they may not have. I'm not too sure, but you know, uh, either way, this week was it's super important. I know. What's today? Monday. Yesterday they had the band out there. They did their normal band routine with the players, which is obviously a great tradition in itself. And hopefully, the boys come out and they're ready to play. We got the Tunnel of Pride this Saturday as well, so it's gonna be great.
Yeah, so actually it's funny that you hit on that. Coach Slate's wife actually wanted me to ask you, what is your favorite tradition that happens throughout this week?
Man, it's great. So many different traditions from, unfortunately, freshman year. If you were on the scout team, you had to go and decal your helmet. Unfortunately, into the maize and blue. But I went through that my freshman year. Didn't do it again, thank God. And then from there, I mean, playing with the band was great. But I think my favorite tradition. Um, it's like a two part. Number one, it was senior tackle. We got to go up there, saw the seniors. We got to speak to the senior or be a senior and hear underclassmen speak about you. Super important. It was a great memory. But for us, while I was there, we had really the honor of having Jack Tatum come into the room, come into the building, come and talk to us. And my favorite thing, two favorite things he used to always say, and hopefully this isn't too bad of a cuss word, but we were. He always talks about how he would get off the plane and he'd be walking through the Columbus airport and he looked up at the TV and he said, "Yeah, it was a Ohio State Michigan game." And I looked up and it was that goddamn 69 game when we lost. So he would always say that, right? So we already knew what he was going to say. But then on top of that, he would say, "This game's important. So what I want you guys to do is to go out there and you hit them in the mouth, you knock them down, you pick them up, line up for the next play, you hit them in the mouth again."
That's
So
awesome.
those two things, huge. So yeah, senior tackle and then hearing Jack Tatum speak, amazing.
Yeah, I mean Jack Tatum is arguably one of the GOATs, so that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Just a couple more questions real quick. Had one of our guys who he's actually I refer to him as he's our in-house Miami fan. So everybody's got
Okay.
one.
Everyone's got one. It's fine.
He wants to know if you ever wanted the game to be at night.
Uh, I don't know. It's kind of. I would say this in a situation where it was my senior year in high school, right? Ohio State's number one, Michigan number two. They moved the game back, I think maybe at
Yeah,
3 o'clock,
it was a 3:30 game. Yep.
3:30. Yeah, yeah. So we got to experience that night field. But if you're gonna move it, it has to be a one versus two, and it has to be a game where it comes down to where it came down to when
Right.
it was 2006. It's got to
Yeah,
be
that
like that.
game. So
Like
yeah,
that
so
game was
you were
amazing.
there then
But I was there as a senior. It
on your
was me.
visit.
I was there on my visit. Dane Sandenbacher was there. After the game, we rushed the field, so it was dope.
That's
It was
awesome.
dope.
Yeah,
But
that one, that kind of set the tone. Uh,
man,
as
man,
a player, you were there for 5 years, so you went through. You played in big games, bowl games. Um, how do you prepare differently for this game?
yeah, that's a great question. The thing about it is that you don't necessarily prepare differently. At least for us, we didn't prepare differently. We already knew the game plan going in. We knew how important the game was because we were reminded of it throughout the entire year. Whether it was spring ball, we would have that session on Saturdays and watch the Ohio State Michigan game from the past. As you're walking through the weight room, you would see the countdown clock for number one, the first game of the season. Number two, you have the countdown to the game. Every time you walk through the hallway, you would see the different, I guess, epic moments of the game displayed on the walls as you walk past. And then, unfortunately, this ended up being me, but we had the score of, I want to say it was 2003 Michigan game that was put in our locker room. It was the year after the national championship that I believe we lost to Michigan up there. Or yeah, it was up there,
Yep.
and we were. It was a constant reminder of like, yo, we do not lose to them. So unfortunately, I have one L. I got to take that L on the chin. It is what it is. But no, I don't think you prepare different. You know exactly what you're going into. You know that this game is going to most likely be colder than any other game in the year.
Yep.
You know that anyone can win regardless of records. Go ahead, throw those records out. They do not matter. You know this is going to be the hardest hitting game all year, and you just have to be prepared and go make a play, make a moment. So that's kind of what we did, and we understood the assignment, and we took care of business. And I know
Yes,
this
you
year
guys
you guys
did.
do it. So
Yeah, absolutely. Does your mindset change knowing you got to go up there?
uh no, I mean the only thing that sucked about going up there was that you had to take a bus
Yeah.
versus flying, you know, but
Yep. And
that
that
was just
bus used to stop. It used to stop in Marion for like little
like
sack
yeah.
lunches.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember
Nice.
when they quit doing that, but yeah, I know the Michigan bus always stopped at Meyer because it
Got
was
you.
kind of get them fed. I think on Friday, and then I don't know if they did it on the way back. Uh,
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
you guys were pretty fortunate that you never really had any crazy things happen in the game. We saw it with
Mhm.
Marcus Hall, Dontre, those guys. How do
Yeah.
you keep the emotions in check in such a hard hitting and physical game?
Great question. You just, I don't know. You just figure it out. I mean, it's either going to come out, it's going to be a fight up the midfield, right? That's what's going to happen. Or you have a situation like 2009 on kickoff, and you got my guy ATN Sabino coming down and just leveling
Cracked,
somebody.
dude.
Now he ended
He
up knocking himself
cracked
out the
it.
game too, but that's where you let it all out right then and there. So in '08, Spittler came through and came and just destroyed somebody down on kickoff as well. So I think that's where you have it. I mean, you don't want to necessarily keep the emotions in check and like hold yourself back. You want to go ahead and display all of that because you want to leave it all on the field. And that's what the game is about. It's about emotion. This game in
Sabino,
particular is like go make a moment. Bino made a moment. He made a
dude, he
moment.
did. He cracked that dude. I mean, it was. I think I was there. '09 was home. Yeah.
No, it was up in
No,
Michigan.
'09 was up.
We had the throwback jerseys, the white ones. Yeah, yeah,
That was
yeah.
the Northwestern game at home. He cracked somebody on kickoff too, because
That one, it was all bad between B roll and Jamario, and everybody was just laying everybody out. That was 2007. They were just taking people out.
dude, it was crazy. Like that. That's how
Mhm.
it's cool to see, and that's one thing I'll give Urban and Day props for. They put so many like just dudes on kickoff. I mean,
Mhm.
I know I'm like I said, I pay attention to a lot of things, and you guys had the War Daddies.
Yes.
We got to talk about the War Daddies real quick.
The War Daddies, man. Listen, you gotta Coach Haycock, John Haycock, obviously former D coordinator. He used to always talk about like, hey, and this crew, who's gonna be a war daddy? I need somebody to decide to go into the tool shed and decide to be the hammer. I need somebody to be the war daddy. And for special teams, we were like, yo, we all need to just go out there and just be some special team war daddies. Put your body on the line, make it happen. So that's what we did, and probably part of the reason why Bino ended up making that hit that he did. We were all war daddies out there.
Love it. I love it. You have a prediction for this week?
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, We just want to win. That's for sure. But if I had to say like a score, man, I don't know. I think we win by at least 13.
I like
And
it.
I
I
and
like
I'm
it.
not
I think
saying
it's
that the talk bad about those guys up north, but I'm saying it because we're due.
exactly.
We're due. We're due. And I think the building is due. And I think they're sick and tired of hearing that this entire section or this group of players has never beat Michigan. Like I think they're tired of it, and I think they want to go get themselves a pair of gold pants. I think it's about time for them to go do it.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I like that. I like that. Well, I
Yeah.
definitely, again, I want to thank you for hopping on with us. And Nate and I were talking before we came on here, and I don't think this will be the last time you see Nate.
Hey,
And, again, shout out to Evan Geyer and our friends at Dostal and Kirk Financial and Insurance Services for, bringing you guys this episode. And any questions that you've got for Nate, let me know, and I can always fire them off to him. And thank you guys.